Hi, I'm Myra Castro. The UK's new Prime Minister does an about-face regarding the importance of fossil fuels, while at the same time California bans the sale of new gasoline-powered cars.
Hi, I'm David Compton. A major local Ventura County energy producer is acquired by a German company, and I'll also take a look at the reasons why California gas prices are higher than everywhere else in the country.
Hi, I'm Olivia Simonson. Energy poverty comes along with a bill to require 3,200-foot setbacks around oil and gas wells in California. And I'll take a look at why quitting oil income is hard, even in the areas of our state that want climate action. All these stories and more coming up on this edition of Power On.
This episode of Power On is sponsored by California Natural Resources Group, your local energy company meeting Californians' needs today while transitioning us to the green energy future of tomorrow. The new British Prime Minister Liz Truss has announced that she will lift a ban on hydraulic fracturing for shale gas as part of the UK's emergency response to an energy price crisis. Fracking was banned in the UK in 2019 due to the doubts surrounding its environmental and economic viability, as well as in response to long-running public opposition. However, Truss has signaled her intention to explore all new avenues of energy generation as Britain tries to stabilize its economy amid rampant inflation primarily driven by rising gas prices. The resumption of shale gas exploration in the UK is said to be accompanied by a broader expansion of oil and gas production in the North Sea. Truss's government will also issue more than 100 new oil and gas extraction licenses to firms. We will be right back after this brief commercial message.
The world is changing, and so is our energy needs. We're proud to be your local energy company leading the way to the green energy future we all desire. We are Cal Energy.
Era Energy, which is co-owned by ExxonMobil and Shell and is one of the biggest oil and gas producers in the Tri-County region, is being sold to a privately held German company. Era is independently operated and headquartered in Bakersfield, California, and accounts for nearly 25% of the state's oil production. The company is the largest producer in Ventura County, and Era owns wells on about 4,300 acres in and around the northwest edge of the city of Ventura and along Ventura Avenue. Also, they employ about 200 people in the area. ICAV from Germany will pay about $4 billion in cash for Era, and the acquisition is set to close in the fourth quarter of this year, pending regulatory approval.
An oil and gas industry killing bill sits on Governor Newsom's desk after passing both the state Senate and Assembly. Senators Gonzalez and Limon authored Senate Bill 1137, calling for a 3,200-foot setback on all new wells throughout the state. The governor personally lobbied for the implementation of this bill, which was an original cornerstone of his end-of-session climate package. As usual, the devil is in the details. Backers in Sacramento emphasize supporting vulnerable communities and claim the bill will only prevent new drilling. The reality is that this bill will cripple the ability of operators to take care of existing wells in the setback zones, making it increasingly difficult for local companies to produce our essential energy resources. The result? An increase in oil imports and tanker traffic, and a crippling economic effect for local oil and gas companies. California is an energy island, and there are no pipelines bringing oil to the state from the rest of the country. Every barrel not produced here must be brought in. About 70% of our daily oil and gas demand already comes to our ports via tankered ship. We will continue to follow this story as the implementation of this bill unfolds.
State officials and Joe Biden have worked hard to enact a law that plans to ban the sale of all gasoline cars by 2035, creating a cleaner future by 2050. This law plans to begin as early as 2026, with 35% of all vehicles made in the U.S. to produce zero emissions, bumping up to 68% by the end of the decade. The legislation plans to cut emissions by 40% below 2005 levels by 2030. This alone will not be enough to reduce emissions to prevent continuous global warming by 2050. Russia's invasion to Ukraine has pushed the Oval Office towards a transition away from dependency on the oil markets and petro-dictators. Canada, Britain, France, and at least 9 other European countries have followed suit, setting goals to phase out the sale of new gasoline-powered vehicles between 2030 and 2040. But none have concrete mandates or regulations like California rule. There has already been a fierce legal pushback from 17 Republican-led states who have filed lawsuits wanting to set their own pollution rules. Republican Representative Patrick Morrissey said California's waiver is favoritism that violates the state's equal sovereignty. Coming up right after the commercial break, our own field reporter Pia Ishal takes a look at how an energy source you might have never thought of brings you the items you depend on every day.
Ventura County has a history rich in oil and gas production. However, as our county and our world has evolved, we realize the need to create a sustainable energy future for our children. We grew up here, raised our families, and worked the land in Ventura County for nearly 100 years. Now we've come back, bringing with us a new vision to the oil and gas operations that we've recently acquired. Not only does our vision include continuing to produce oil and gas in a responsible environmental manner, but it also includes building green, sustainable energy sources side by side our oil and gas production wherever geographically and environmentally possible. We're proud to call Ventura County our new home and be your responsible energy neighbors. We look forward to leading California into the green energy future it deserves. We are Cal Energy.
Hi, I'm Pia, and as a busy mom, I'm going to bring you with me into my kitchen today. We're going to prepare my son lunch and see just how many household items contain oil in them. Let's see how much petroleum goes into making my son a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Looking at my faucet, a lot of us think our faucet is made of metal, when it is actually plastics made from petroleum mixed with a layer of chromium to give it the shiny metal effect. Looking in the fridge, you'll see several plastic shelves, door insulation, even Tupperware products that are all made from plastic. All plastic is made from petroleum and can be found in almost anyone's home. Using a cutting board to set up our sandwich, we notice this plastic is made of petroleum, just like our other appliances. Now let's dive into our ingredients. This thin layer protecting our bread from moisture and germs is actually made from petroleum. We grab our peanut butter. Our peanut butter is in a container made of petroleum. Something else made from petroleum is the sticker adhesive and the print on the label. All right. Jelly. Like the peanut butter, also in a plastic container made from petroleum. Also, sticker adhesive and print. Lastly, let's grab my son a drink. I'm going to grab a cup. Okay, plastic. And some orange juice that is in, you guessed it, plastic made from petroleum. Thanks to the petroleum industry, I can buy foods that are produced and transported to the local market using petroleum, and I can drive to the store in my gas-powered car. Without these products, I would not be able to make my son lunch. Thank goodness for petroleum.
Since June, average gas prices have steadily been decreasing. But for California, prices have remained at the high end of the scale and have maintained this cost through September. Analysis has discovered refineries are the blame for California gas prices. Spring and fall begin our refinery turnover season, including planned and unplanned maintenance and cutting back the output and struggling to keep up with demand. News came out this month that the Democratic-controlled legislature has rejected a plan to suspend the state's 51-cent per gallon gas tax. Assembly member Kevin Kiley stated, "The legislature had an opportunity to provide real relief to the Californians by suspending the gas tax. Now our residents are paying the price. That means we're seeing drastic differences between coast to coast, where some areas on the East Coast are actually receiving decreases in gas prices, while the West Coast, including Arizona, Nevada, Oregon, Washington, and of course California, are stuck in what seems like a never-ending increase to the prices due to refinery issues in California. California is dealing with a tight supply of oil and gas production and are working hard to meet demands. Governor Newsom has called for an inflation relief payment for 23 million Californians to receive it by the end of October.
Local communities are feeling the impacts of the state's energy policies as the flow of oil and gas tax revenues are being threatened. This is particularly true in Taft in Kern County, where the Taft Oil Academy, is a high school program where students learn about geology, earth science, and natural resources production. The academy teaches students to fly drones and research topics about oil and gas. This program and programs like these throughout California are on the chopping block as producers fight to keep their businesses afloat. In 2020, Taft's oil and gas industry generated nearly 1/4 of the county's property tax revenue, helping to fund many of Taft's educational programs, including the Oil Academy. The energy education programs that these communities have developed are world-class, and yet politics put their futures in flux. Oil and gas companies, especially in key oil-producing counties like Kern, are essential tax contributors and active community members. We're watching attentively to see how the future of these energy policies will play out and impact these communities throughout the state.
Well, that's it for this edition of Power On. If you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to click that little red subscribe button. On behalf of myself, Olivia Simonson, David Compton, Pia Ishel, and everyone else here at Power On, thanks for watching.